Okay, so I made my first TikTok today, and I'm so excited. And this is what we're going to use to learn today. Guys, are you ready? Okay.
This is like your third TikTok?
This is the first one I've ever made by myself, though. So, okay. So watch it really quick.
To figure out how many bushels of corn you can get from a cornfield, you have to go to a cornfield. Measure 17.5 feet into the field because that's 1/1000th of an acre. Then you're going to count the number of stalks in each row. When we did this, we got 20. Then you're going to remove an ear. To figure out how many kernels you can get in an acre, break an ear.
Miss Waller, there's no sound in your video.
Of kernels in the cross section of the ear of corn.
Now,
this will give me the total number of kernels on the ear.
All right, hold on. I thought if I muted myself, that would be a good idea, and it wasn't because it also muted the video. So let me start it over.
To figure out how many bushels of corn you can get from a cornfield, you have to go to a cornfield. Measure 17.5 feet into the field because that's 1/1000th of an acre.
Actually, you ready for this madness? Whoever is watching this at home, if you're watching this later, I'm so sorry. Okay.
To figure out how many bushels of corn you can get from a cornfield, you have to go to a cornfield. Measure 17.5 feet into the field because that's 1/1000th of an acre. Then you're going to count the number of stalks in each row. When we did this, we got 20. Then you're going to remove an ear. To figure out how many kernels you can get in an acre, break an ear of corn off the stalk and go ahead and husk it. Then you're going to count the number of kernels in a row on the ear of corn. Once you've done that, we got 39. Then you're going to break it in half. Once you've broken the ear of corn in half, this is what we call the cross section of an ear of corn. You want to count the kernels around, but you don't want to count the one you started with twice. We got 16. Now it's time to do some math. We want to figure out how many bushels per acre we're going to get off this field. So I'm going to take the number of kernels in a row times the number of kernels in the cross section of the ear of corn. This will give me the total number of kernels on the ear that we selected. Then I'm going to multiply that number of kernels by the number of stalks in our sample. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take how many kernels were in that whole sample and multiply it by 1,000 because our 17.5 foot sample was 1/1000th of an acre. This is the total number of kernels that I'll harvest per acre. Then I'm going to take that number . It's a really big number. And I'm going to divide it by 85,000 because 85,000 is the average number of kernels in a bushel of corn. That lets me know that I can get 146.8 bushels per acre. I'll multiply this by the total number of acres on my farm, and that's my expected yield.
Isn't it so fun? Okay, so what you guys are going to do today, and like your assignment for today, basically, we would have gone out to the field and tried that. And I still want to try and do that when you guys get back to school if the corn is still there. If the corn is still there, we want to try and go out and do that still. But we're going to pretend that like you guys went out to the field with me to do that. So when you are a farmer, and we talked about this the other day, that you want, you're in production agriculture, you want to be able to estimate the amount of crop that you're going to get off your field so that you can figure out if you want to enter into any futures markets, how much time it's going to take, different things like that. So the way that you can do that is by doing a super quick, it took me a lot longer because I was trying to TikTok it, but by doing a super quick little sample math. So when we decide we're going to walk 17.5 feet into a row of corn, somebody at some point who's a lot smarter than me figured out that 17.5 feet of a row of corn is 1/1000th of an acre. So I went ahead and measured that with the measuring tape, and then I walked in that far. And then as I was walking out from that 17.5 foot point, I counted how many stalks of corn were in that single row of 17-foot section. So that's going to give me a rough estimate of how many ears are there too, how many ears of corn. So then I take one ear off and I break it, and before I break it, I'm going to count the number of kernels in one row of corn. It's just like you're taking like length times width of a box, right? And then I'm going to break it open and I'm going to count the number of rows. And that's going to tell me the total number of kernels times the total number of rows. And that's going to give me the number of kernels that's on that ear of corn. So I'm going to multiply those two together. And then I'm going to take that number and multiply it by the number of stalks that were in that section. And that's going to give me the total number of kernels that were in that section. Okay. Once I do that, that is the total number of kernels in a 17.5 foot section in 1/1000th of an acre. So I'm going to take that total number of kernels times 1,000. That's going to give me the total number of kernels estimated per acre, right? Because that was 1/1000th of an acre. Then I'm going to divide that number by 85,000 because 85,000 is the average number of kernels in a bushel. And we talk about our bushels of corn, or we talk about our yield in bushels. So I want to know how many bushels I'm likely to get off of an acre, not how many kernels. So I'm going to take that total number of kernels I'm going to get out of an acre. I'm going to divide it by 85,000, and that's going to give me, what was that, our 146 number? That's how many bushels I'm likely to get out of that acre. Does that make sense? Do you guys have questions about that? Once you do that, you can multiply that number then by however many acres of corn you have on your farm. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I want you to take, I should have had this. I want you to take the numbers that I gave you on this slide, the total number of sections, and if you look at that practice page on 122, I went ahead and wrote number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 8. So like those are the number on that line on that page. So you can plug that number onto those blanks already. So the number of stalks in your 17.5 foot section, the number of kernels in a row is number 2. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's written funky, but that's right. And then number 8 is how big your farm is, how many acres your farm is. So if you do that and you plug in and you do that math and it walks you through, you're multiplying number 2 by number 3 to see how many kernels you have on an ear. Number 4, that number by how many stalks, and you're walking through that same process. So I want you guys to take those numbers and plug it in on page 122 and figure out the total estimated bushels per farm. And then today's corn price, actually, I'll look that up really quick. You would multiply the current market of corn, so whatever it might be. Right now it's $3.99 per bushel. So you would multiply your number of bushels you're going to get off your farm by $3.99, and that's your total, what should be your total income for your corn crop that year. Does that make sense? So I want you guys to do that, and that's going to be your like assignment for today and yesterday, pretty much. So once you're done with that, you'll take a picture of page 122 and you'll send it in an email to that ag.work@cardington.k12.oh.us. Okay, and if you need help doing that step by step, if you go to, I'll show you on here. If you go to the laptop that's on my couch, it tells you step by step in 6 steps how to send a video through email or a picture through email. So you guys can send that screen, and that's going to be a grade for you guys to send that picture in. So then if you want some bonus points and you want to have some corny fun, get it? Because corn. You want to have some fun too. If you want to go out, if you have a cornfield close to your house and you want to go out and make me some sort of TikTok with corn about yield estimates, or you walking or something, and you send me that TikTok, I'll give you bonus points. We'll do like a little bonus project. I know some of y'all are quarantined and some of you guys maybe don't have something close to your house. So if you can't do that, that's cool. But if you want to go ahead and do that, then I'll give you probably a little bonus project, and maybe something fun for you to do today too. So, yeah. You guys have questions about that?
Yeah. What if you don't got TikTok?
You can just make like a funny video if you want to and send it to me about like corn yields. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. You guys have any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna stop recording this.